Good day, I'm Carrie Ann Smith and this is your JIS News for Friday, April 15. Government will be funding most of its $580 billion budget with money from revenues and grants. The estimates of revenue tabled in the House of Representatives yesterday reveals that $445.5 billion of that amount will be earned from taxes. $30.5 billion will be from non-tax revenue and the remainder from capital revenue and grants. The country is also expected to get $89.4 billion in loans to help fund the budget. Finance Minister Audley Shaw will provide more details on government's revenue plans and other fiscal policy decisions when he opens the budget debate on May 12. In the meantime, the 2016-2017 estimates of expenditure is being reviewed by the Auditor General before it's examined by the Standing Finance Committee of Parliament from May 3 to 5. And we'll have more details on the budget later in Jamaica Magazine. In a bid to effect change in the public sector, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says plans are underway to establish a new initiative called the Jamaica House Fellowship. Mr. Holness says the initiative will engage the island's entrepreneurial talents in the public service from an early age so that the public sector will start operating as efficiently as the private sector.
The long-term objective is to make sure that the public sector has the talent pool to support the regulatory environment that can work at the speed of business. It is an investment we're going to make now. We will do it in conjunction with the private sector. But at the end of the day, we will make our public sector the reservoir of managerial talent that will help to drive economic growth and job creation in Jamaica.
The Prime Minister was speaking on Thursday at the opening of Expo Jamaica 2016. He announced plans to restore incentives for financing under the Junior Stock Exchange and pledged to assist with the opening up of new markets for Jamaican producers by aligning the island's foreign policy with its economic policy. Prime Minister Holness also revealed that government would be appointing several investment ambassadors to assist with seeking out new markets overseas.
By next week, Wednesday, we will appoint two. One who will have India and the Middle East as their remit, and another general remit with focus on Europe to create new markets and build new opportunities for Jamaica.
As the so-called Panama Papers continue to command international attention, Jamaicans are being assured that the country has a strong financial regulatory regime that's compliant with international standards and procedures. The recent leak of financial documents from a Panama-based firm has been implicating a number of international firms and public figures in claims of hiding their wealth in offshore firms to avoid paying taxes. But Chairman of the Jamaica International Financial Services Authority, Eric Crawford, points out that the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, which monitors and regulates the global financial industry, ranked Jamaica as largely compliant in 2015.
We changed our income tax legislation in 2014 to allow our revenue to investigate the affairs of say, a business or an individual, even where they don't have what is called a tax interest.
Mr. Crawford was speaking recently on JIS TV's Issues and Answers program. Government will be introducing new legislation to improve the monitoring and operations of funeral establishments and mortuaries. Minister of Health Dr. Christopher Tufton says Cabinet will be reviewing the public health funeral establishment and mortuary operations regulations for approval.
We are now moving to development of legislation for the industry. And the critical areas of focus, of course, are areas related to critical accountability, complying to international best practices as it relates to the preservation of public health.
Dr. Tufton says proper regulatory measures were necessary to avoid serious issues from shortfalls in industry standards. He was addressing the annual Funeral Directors Brunch at the Knutsford Court Hotel earlier this week. The National School Feeding Policy, which has been in its draft stages for some time, is to be implemented this year. The policy will guide the Education Ministry's school feeding program for the next academic year and onwards.
The goal of the policy is to improve educational outcomes of the school-age population through targeted nutritional support.
The Education State Minister was speaking on Wednesday at the media launch of Child Month 2016. Meanwhile, this year's Child Month focus will be on the health and wellness of the nation's children, guided by the theme, Healthy Children Build a Stronger Nation. While speaking at the launch on Wednesday, Education State Minister Floyd Green said his ministry would be taking a holistic approach to the month's observance. He says activities will focus on engaging various agencies and organizations about meeting the needs of our children.
We will direct the conversation for Jamaicans to recognize that the nation's children are our children. Our mission is to change the conversation from being my child or your child to our child. We have to drive home the message that each of us has a role to play in ensuring that each Jamaican child is developed to their maximum potential. They are all our children.
Child Month is celebrated annually in May. And finally, the Agriculture Ministry will be giving priority attention to ensuring that all primary and high schools have an agricultural garden. State Minister J.C. Hutchinson made the announcement this week at the launch of Newport Fersand's liquid fertilizer. He said the goal was to increase students' awareness of agriculture's importance to the economic development of the country.
We are not only going to be looking at those agricultural gardens in the school just for growing, but it is going to be used as a demonstration plot for the extension officers, where they will be able to show the farmers how to grow crops.
Minister Hutchinson says the school gardens will also help to supply produce to the learning institution's breakfast programs. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Kerry Ann Smith. Thanks for watching.